We're going to stay in the SEC, and we're going to talk about Alabama and Arkansas. This one's interesting. This one's really interesting to me. Alabama goes on the road again. Last time we saw Alabama on the road against a pretty decent team, they almost showed. They almost got an L against Texas. And when they were in Austin, they did not show up very well. They were not disciplined. That was probably the biggest issue of Alabama in that one. I don't see that happening in this game. I think Nick Saban definitely took care of the penalties and the discipline of this team. I'm sure that he was not happy whatsoever. That practice week was probably dreadful for the Crimson Tide. Heading into Arkansas, though. Arkansas, I saw something really funny about this team, and I actually really think it makes sense. A lot of people like to call them quote-unquote America's team, and let me tell you why. They say they haven't won a lot yet. They have a coach that is, likable, and they're just one of those teams that they are not afraid to throw the ball, but they'll also, smash mouth, put it in your face the way that your grandpa would like to play football. It's like they're America's team. It's like that's actually pretty interesting. I don't know if America's team, quote unquote, the Arkansas Razorbacks, are going to be able to win this game as they play Alabama, though. They're a pretty strong underdog, but this could be one of those games, just like we saw against the Longhorns in Austin, that Alabama might show some of their bad sides, might be exposed. I don't think the crowd's going to be anything like we saw in Austin. It was a record crowd with College Game Day, over 100,000 people there. I'm still going to take Alabama on this one, but I think this one is not as bad with the points. Now, I'm going to bring the spread up in a minute. I have to take Alabama on the money line on this one.
Alabama has never lost to Arkansas.
Period.
Since Nick Saban has been the head coach at Alabama. This very well could be the week that Nick Saban loses to Arkansas.
Man, you're just full of upset. I love it. If you haven't noticed, there's another upset that you just gave on the Friday show yesterday. I'm going to keep that in my pocket. If you want to hear that, head on back to the 5 for Friday show. Steve, you're full of them. All right, come on, bring it on. What you got?
Okay, it's going to come down. Arkansas's defense. It is the best defense in the nation. And I didn't look at the statistics on this. I just look at watching the game. They're the best defense in the country, bar none. They're aggressive. They force turnovers. And I really think that's going to get inside the head of Bryce Young. I do. The Alabama quarterback is marvelous. Okay. I mean, he just brings so much to the table. He just has not faced a defense like this Arkansas defense. And I really think you mentioned earlier the penalties. I think that mistakes are going to happen because Alabama's just not used to a physical being overmatched physically. It's sort of like back in Rocky IV when Rocky Balboa finally cut Drago and Drago was like, "Oh my God, I'm human, I'm bleeding, whatever." This might be a case of this. So while I'm going to pick Arkansas for the sake of the show, I certainly would take Arkansas with points and any bet you could lay out there. But it's not going to shock me if Arkansas beats Alabama. I think they have all of the prerequisites to give Alabama all they can have. I think Texas has shown that Alabama is vulnerable defensively, even everybody seems to think that, oh no, Alabama it's a wall. It's the Great Wall of Birmingham or whatever the heck city that they're in, Tuscaloosa, I guess it is. I think Alabama is going to do that, and Arkansas has a quarterback in KJ Jefferson that I think can also get the job done against Alabama's defense.
This is the first true test, I think, for Alabama. Obviously, we saw them against Texas. Texas was in that position where they weren't ready to compete yet. I think Texas really just showed up with Quinn Ewers, and it was an excitement. I think if Quinn Ewers stayed in the game, they beat Alabama.
Yes.
But truly, Arkansas, I think, is the first true test of them. When you talk about their defense, just like you did, I think they have one of the best run defenses, but their secondary is very concerning to me. They give up a lot of yards through the air, and that's something that is a concern to me, and probably why the spread is so high, because Bryce Young is able to find those flaws in defensive secondary. and he could really expose Arkansas's defense. I'm with you though on the points though. The spread is minus 17 for Alabama, so I'm definitely would take Arkansas with the points here. I think Arkansas can at least keep this game close. I'm not going as far as you are with the upset. I think it's possible, entirely possible, especially while I'm taking the points here. I think Alabama can win this game by just a score or maybe 10 points at most. I'm taking Arkansas with the points at plus 17 for them. The over under at 61. If I think Arkansas can win this game, I'm going to slam the under on that one. However, just like I said, if Bryce Young can find those holes in that secondary and they just can't stop it, this game can get over real fast. We saw what they did against Vanderbilt. Obviously, not the same kind of defense. Alabama, when they get rolling in that passing offense, they easily score 40, 50 points. It's like nothing. You take a blink, you go up, get a drink, you come back, and it's 41-3. So this is something that I definitely can see it going either way. And I think it all depends on Arkansas's secondary, 100%.
Yeah, and Alabama's offensive line really is a secret weapon in, week out. So that is something that could be perhaps the most determining factor if Alabama is going to pull this one off. And Arkansas just cannot keep committing stupid penalties. They got to stop shooting themselves in the foot. They cannot do that against Alabama. They have to play the perfect game. I think they have that perfect game in them. So that's why I'm going with Arkansas on the upset. But this is the type of game where that kind of hammers home the point that SEC football is the best brand of college football on the landscape today.
Hard to disagree with that. I want to take Arkansas with the money line. I really do. That helped my odds with my P6 parlay I do with every Saturday six pack. I just can't, but I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the points though with Arkansas.